it's been a busy time for me. But got one of these guys now from the East Oakland Stadium Alliance. They want to stop this ballpark by any means necessary, and have to wonder, like, what's the big deal? You have to ask why they don't want people, or why they don't want a ballpark. And on the cover of this book, on the outside, they're talking about they're worried about people in trains, and they're worried about the traffic, what it's going to do for housing and all this stuff, which is, for the lack of a better term, complete and utter bullshit. They don't care about anybody in West Oakland or East Oakland. If they cared, they'd probably be getting behind this. And a lot of their rhetoric has been that the A's haven't come to the table or whatever. Really what it's been is the A's haven't bowed down to their demands, which is don't build one of these things. But really what it comes down to is I feel like they're hiding something, honestly. So if you've gotten one of these, or if you've been to a public event in the city of Oakland, sorry, I almost lost my seat. You may have seen a table set up to do a petition, and what they're trying to do is get behind Carol Fife. She's one of the council members. Sorry, I got a mosquito trying to bite me. And she wants to put the ballpark idea up for vote. And from a couple of the people I've talked to, and let's be honest, they're not the most sorry, you guys running his weed eater or something over here. They're not always the most up to date with certain knowledge and how it goes. But if this went to a vote, it would probably lose. The lack of goodwill by the A's over the last few decades has really soured the public opinion about them one way or another. Whether it would be at the Coliseum or Fremont or Howard Terminal, I think a lot of people are just pissed off at the A's. They have not done very much especially in this ownership era, since John Fisher bought it, haven't done a whole lot to get fans on their side. When they're winning, there's a few fans, but over the years, it's just gone downhill. And not just the A's, but baseball all around has lost fans. You can look at everybody, really. Almost every team out there is suffering in the attendance department this year, and I honestly don't know why. But back to this. So this referendum, or whatever you want to call it, this coalition would like to put this up for a vote. And again, Oakland residents don't have a whole lot of goodwill or good feelings towards the A's. And if they went by what's been put out there, the only real information that's been put out to people who probably aren't in the know is by East Oakland Stadium Alliance. And when it's like that one-sided, you don't really get the whole story. And in this case, they want to demand a vote, or get ready to pay. But let's talk about that. So it says right here, the A's want a privately owned baseball stadium and luxury condos at the Howard Terminal in the Port of Oakland. True. Okay, so that's not the lie. They're demanding $1 billion in public funds. Oakland's largest taxpayer subsidy for a private developer ever. That's a lie. It's a lie. It's I would like maybe a partial truth, but for all intents and purposes, a lie. And then there's a concerned scanned QR code and signed the petition to demand that Oakland City Council let voters decide. Well, City Council can ask for a vote, and they probably will, and at their next little meeting. And I know now Noel Gallo wants a vote, and Carol Fife wants this to go to a vote, but City Council isn't, apparently from what I know, isn't bound by this. They can put it on if they want, spend lots of money, maybe millions of dollars. Okay, well, some little girl's mad. It's not my problem. Anyways, yeah, so if they did get this on for November, which would be a delay, another delay that would probably send the A's, packing, possibly, who knows. But if it got on there, one, they would probably lose, but the City Council doesn't necessarily have to abide by it. It's, as far as I know, I would have to ask somebody who's more knowledgeable, probably Zenny, about how that works. But regardless, the lie in this is that generally taxpayers won't pay for it because the EIFD is the project itself. So it would be within the Howard Terminal project. And not Jack London Square like the A's they wanted. They wanted Jack London Square as a whole so that they can collect more. I don't know what's going on behind me. Anyways, so these kids, or sorry, these guys are distracting. So if that's the tax district, it doesn't affect the general area. It's not going to affect the people in Piedmont and Montclair and East Oakland or even West Oakland, because these are the people. The only people who would be paying taxes are the people who are paying property taxes at Howard Terminal and buying those projects, or the A's themselves, or whoever owns the hotel or whatever on that piece of land for 30 years. And it's projected at maybe over $1 billion, depending on who you ask. You ask Zenny, it's up there. Some have it closer to 800,000 or 800 million. It's a lot of money, regardless. This is all money going back to paying back the A's for the infrastructure improvement, to help pay for what would be community benefits and other such things. And it wouldn't come out of the taxpayers' money. And many of these Oakland council members have said, if it's coming from the general fund, not going to happen. They don't need to have a vote, because if they can backstop this whole project without touching the general fund, there's no need to involve taxpayers. And furthermore, it's their job. The people, the electorate in Oakland, elected them to make these decisions, elected them to make informed decisions. And let's be frank, most people aren't informed. This isn't something you just want to go and throw out at into a vote and people not understand what it's about. And after 2-3 years of just complete misinformation from EOSA, it's going to lose. This is too big of a project to put in the hands of, honestly, just everyday people who don't know. And most people don't know. And I'm going to be frank, I don't know that much. And here I am being involved with it. Next week, this whole thing could fall apart at any moment. Next week, the BCDC is going to have their vote. If you've read the comment replies from BCDC, there's a lot of people who asked for this to be delayed in some way, and they cannot delay it. They have to answer once within a period. I think it's 60 days or 90 days or whatever, 70 days, who knows, whatever days it was, I forget. They have to do it, they have to have their meeting and they have to vote on it. And there is no delaying that. Not everybody's going to be happy. The A's are pulling their own shenanigans with as far as affordable housing goes. I could have sworn they said that they would come in at 15%, and then I remember the county were saying they want maybe 30%. And the Dave Cabell is right that 15% is above the threshold that's set by the city of Oakland. In I believe it was 2015 or 2016, the rules, or I don't know if it's a law or if it's just what they all agreed on. I don't know how this works. I'm going to admit to that. But there's 3 levels of affordable housing, and whether you can do, what percentages are of a development. And for just low-income housing, there's two levels. Basically, it's based upon a percentage of your income to whatever the current poverty level is, poverty line. And one is something like at 70% of poverty, and I'm going to say 50. I'm just making up numbers, honestly, right now, because I don't have it in front of me. But at those levels, it's 10% of the units have to be affordable housing. If it's ultra affordable housing, which I believe is 50% or lower than poverty, then those units would only be down to 5% of the total units would have to be low-income housing. So the A's are within that threshold, even at 15%. I don't know why now that they're trying to negotiate to get that 15%. It seems disingenuous, and honestly, it sucks. It makes them look really shitty. But if they get through this BCDC vote, which the BCDC did say that they made their recommendation to move forward in removing Howard Terminal from port priority use. If that's the case, and that's what happens, the A's can move forward. But if they don't do it, this deal is all but dead. There is no Howard Terminal, and I would have to assume that they immediately turn towards Las Vegas and start making their plans there. I'm not sure. Excel is asking basically if there's a way to make your comment. Public comment was open. I'm not sure if it's closed. I don't have a link for you or anything, but I believe you can do you can email them if I remember right. You can email them, or if you're not on an airplane and you have time, you can call in, or you can go there in person. But I'm sure they're limiting the in-person comments or the number of people that they let in. Alameda County is back under some of the COVID restrictions. You do have to wear a mask, and I believe you might have to, they might be limiting numbers. Maybe I think it's 100 people or something like that for an indoor event. I don't know. I would have to look at that. Anyways, long-winded, I don't know. But if you can, please do so. There was a link to the BCDC for public comment. Maybe you can Google that and find that, and I would totally recommend doing so. Look, I'm upset about them because the fact is they're basing their whole thing on lies. It's all Chicken Little bullshit. The Port of Oakland are the ones who are kind of driving this thing. With as far as giving them numbers about what's the projected numbers, how much space is available at the port, all these such things, and they totally disregard that. Right now, just for show, they've got a bunch of empty containers sitting out at Howard Terminal, just to take up space. A couple months ago, or earlier this year, the Port of Oakland moved. Well, I won't even say moved. They evicted about 24 businesses out of Howard Terminal because to make space. But when we get down to it, they're only looking at around a 1% increase per year over the next 20 or 30 years. They're if you look at the BCDC's arguments, as well as the Tioga Group, who provided some information, and I believe it's part of the EIR. There's plenty of space at the Port of Oakland, and I believe they have right now 15 acres set aside for parking and that sort of stuff. They also mentioned that there's some other spots in Hayward, San Leandro, Oakland, Richmond, Vallejo, basically at other ports. I know the Port of Richmond and Vallejo are both trying to increase their capacity right now. They have their own things going on. I know Richmond is mostly an automotive port. There's I know Nissan, and I think Kia and Hyundai might be still doing operations over there. There used to be 3 or 4 companies over there where they're driving cars on and off ships, or off ship for imports into the United States. And I believe Vallejo's doing some of the same. From there, they get loaded onto trucks and taken to dealerships. But there's stuff going on in other ports, where there's room for these trucks to go, because they're not just working out of the Port of Oakland. They're bouncing around between multiple ports, and they're saying that there's room in Richmond and San Pablo, and various places nearby where these guys can keep working and not really interfere with port operations. The traffic issues, well, it's kind of moot if you don't have a terminal there for trucks to move in and out of. Then there's no traffic. Somebody from EOSA posted a video about 2 weeks ago of trucks going down I believe at 6th or 7th Street off the Broadway exit, going down, then around the corner, down Market to Howard Terminal, and it's packed up with trucks. Well, those trucks won't exist there if there's a ballpark there, point blank, and they'll have someplace else to go. None of the people that I've met from EOSA are from East Oakland. I have met some, and I've talked to them here on Zenny 62, and they're paid employees just hanging out, holding their signs up. Some of them are volunteers. A lot of them are, they are fake. They are a East Oakland Stadium Alliance as an AstroTurf group. They claim to be East Oaklanders who are against this ballpark projects, and they want to keep it in East Oakland at the Coliseum, but you can't force them to stay at a place they don't want to be. They've already said, if we don't get Howard Terminal, we're gone. I don't see anybody keeping them here unless something crazy happens. Unless this was all just absolute, dog and pony show, and suddenly they go, okay, fine, we'll take it. I don't see it happening. But what it comes down to is you got guys like Noel Gallo, and he's bitter. He's already lost the Raiders, and he's lost the Warriors. I mean, and that's clout, and those are jobs, and that's tax money and parking money and concessions and everything else that they have that Oakland gets a cut of. That's gone, and The only way the A's built the Coliseum if everything, yeah, it would have to fail everywhere else. And I don't see that happening, especially if once Vegas knows that they can get this done, that Oakland blew it, they will. I don't see this not happening in Las Vegas. It would, that would be a colossal failure on Las Vegas's part. I don't think this is a bluff. I really don't. And Rob Manfred was talking in the news the other day. Saying, hey, there is a lot of progress recently, but they need to have a decision soon. And another thing that's coming is elections. This needs to get done by the next term for whoever's here, because I don't know who's running against Rebecca Kaplan, but I see her taking the Board of Supervisors seat that was formerly Wilma Chan's, and she went after, she died, and so somebody's got to take that seat. I honestly thought Rebecca Kaplan would run for mayor, but she's not. But anyways, her seat's up, so that's council at large, and she seems largely on board with this project. There's quite a few guys who could possibly lose their seat, and this could all go south. Libby Schaff, her time is up. There'll be another mayor, and who knows where they'll be. We don't know who's going to win. I haven't seen any sort of polls about who's winning and who could win. But yeah, a lot of things could go wrong. And so with the current administrations, I think this is a done deal as far as things go, as long as the A's get to work on the community benefits. And I think after the BCDC thing, that's really what it comes down to. They can work out the money issues and everything, but they've really got to, get flexible. And I think there's a lot of leverage right now for the A's because they do have Las Vegas that they can fall back on. But I think once the BCDC vote comes through, now the momentum or the weight of that leverage falls back to Oakland, and now they're like, okay, you've jumped over all these hurdles and you've gotten to here, and now it's up to you to do the work to make this happen. And I think I'm hoping that once there's these bigger approvals done, that the A's soften a little bit and have their come to Jesus moment and say, hey, this is the best thing for us, because I don't see Vegas happening easily. You're going to have to, this is not the Raiders, and even still, the Raiders fans didn't come like they say they were going to come. There were a lot of empty seats, and there were also a lot of red and orange jerseys on certain games. Other fans traveled harder, and I don't see that happening 80 games for the A's. Even in the Coliseum, you get outnumbered by Red Sox and Yankees fans, and occasionally Blue Jays and some of the Chicago teams when they're here. Don't expect anything different in Las Vegas. And matter of fact, you're going to have to work even harder to get. Those fans. Baseball fans are hard to get right now, and there's 29 other stadiums who are not full. It's hard to get fans right now. Baseball's marketed itself poorly, marketed its guys poorly. It's the players. I don't know. The two biggest names in baseball the last couple years have been, Mike Trout, who has the personality of toast, and Shohei Ohtani, who seems okay, but he doesn't speak English, so he's going to have a hard time reaching the American audience. there were some guys who I really liked. Um, there's a slight language barrier, but they speak damn good English and well enough to sell some baseballs and tennis shoes and ice cream or whatever they're trying to sell. Fernando Tatis is great. Um, he's charismatic. He's he's young. He can't he speaks to this younger audience, and I mean, he even speaks to me. I mean, we get they call it kind of the WWE antics. If you go to Dominican Republic and Cuba, I mean, there's a lot of collar popping. These guys are wearing big ass chains, and they're rock stars. And they want to be treated like that. And here, I don't know if you guys have been around players. Just no personality. There's a lot of unspoken rules in baseball because nobody speaks. That's really what it comes down to. Everybody's stoic and they don't say much. I remember I grew up. I spent a few years in a town called Alvin, Texas, and the only thing there from Alvin, Texas, was Nolan Ryan. I played baseball in Little League with his sons, and I played junior high football with his son, Reese. And I'd met Nolan a few times, and he's a dry guy. I never saw him smile until Houston won the World Series. Very, very little happiness. I felt like that guy was just miserable all the time. Probably wasn't. I know a lot of these guys aren't, and there's a lot of that's kind of like that baseball attitude, though. It's like, yeah, there's no personality. They're just boring people. And I liked seeing guys like Tatis, and I liked seeing Vlad Jr. I mean, these are the dudes I want to see. It's the dudes that my kid wants to see. It's the guys that your kids want to see. They want to see somebody come through. Whether they're good or bad, they want to see guys who come through and show something. Be real. That's the new age, and baseball hasn't caught up to that yet. They keep wanting to put Mike Trout out there. I've had a hard time seeing Vegas getting MLB with an expansion team. Yeah, they're weird, and I don't know either. The thing I thought Las Vegas should have got before they got football or hockey was basketball. I was there in like 2006, I think, is when they hosted the All-Star game, and I was there for, it's called Magic. It's a clothing company, or a clothing manufacturer's trade show, big trade show, and it was happening at the same time as the same weekend, and so you had kind of a little bit of everything going on. So at the time, having your own clothing label for like hip hop guys was a big deal. You had Sean John. There was a few of them. I'm drawing a blank now, but plus. So you had the rappers and the rock star guys had their clothing labels. I mean, I remember meeting like Gene Simmons and Puff Daddy and Kanye. Literally meeting these guys and hanging out with them. Green Day, Billy Joe's wife has a clothing line. They hosted a big party. So all these rock stars were hosting parties, but then you also had the NBA guys who were in town. And so now you've got guys like LeBron showing up at the Nike booths and Reebok and all those guys. So you have these big stars coming in, and they're really just there to check out the thing. I'm assuming some of them came through to push product, but that's just really what it came down to, and it was huge. We went to so many parties. We're just invited left and right, between the other clothing companies and between the bands and our connections with the music scene at the time. The company I was there with mostly made tour shirts for rock bands, and and stuff. So we were there for that. So we were at the Green Days parties and you know, there was a few others that we had gone to, mostly the rock and punk shows. But anyways, all the clubs had some big shit going on, and NBA guys everywhere. And Vegas had already been a basketball town. UNLV had a lot of success, at least in the 80s and to a point through the 90s. You know, they're high on basketball. Like how they didn't have an NBA team first, how they didn't have an NBA team before Oklahoma City, no clue. I don't think they don't push hockey team out. I don't think they push the hockey team out. I think Vegas is now sold on their hockey team. You know, they even came when they were losing, so you know, they're still new, but their numbers are dropping. I expect to see, unless the Raiders do something big, I expect to see their numbers drop some more in coming years. We'll see how transient and how much attention span Las Vegas has sooner than later, because let's face it, Las Vegas has a lot to offer. They have great concerts almost every night. There's somebody coming through somewhere, whether they're at the Hard Rock. Well, Hard Rock is gone, I think, now. But you know, whether at T-Mobile or MGM or wherever the heck they've got a show, there's somebody playing somewhere. You know, magic shows, comedy shows, you name it. There's all sorts of entertainment that's going on there, and there's more coming. And so, to keep that revolving door, you know, revolving, you know, you got to keep bringing stuff in that's fresh. And if your team's not winning, that's not fresh enough. If you're, you know, people want to see a winning team. I'm not traveling 2,000 miles to come see my team lose in Las Vegas either. You know, that's another one. You know, I'm not coming to see a losing team either. You know, if I was a Jets fan or whatever, I'll stay home. I can stay home and watch them lose. So there's a lot to do there, and there's a lot for, you know, they have a lot of room for success, and we will see if they get there. But back to the thing at hand here is, yeah, if you get one of these doodads in the mail, you know, check it out. I wouldn't scan that QR code, by the way. Carol Fife made a big deal about this a few days ago. I was like, oh, I look at all these emails I got from constituents, but it's just a form, a preloaded form. You put your name and your zip code in and your email address, and you send it. You can't even edit the message, which kind of sucks. You know, you couldn't even change it to support it. You know, but so they're sending that out. It's just a simple email system that even dumb old me could easily write a couple lines of code, a script that would go through and just create, basically use robots to send out these messages. You know, there's sorry, I'm trying to look at these other messages. I hope that district swaps her out. Look, I'm not a fan of Fife. I'm not, you know, my problem with Carol Fife is, instead of becoming, I don't know the Reed brothers, instead of getting involved and knowing what this project is about and knowing the ins and outs and doing the work that I think is necessary, she has aligned herself with people who are telling her what they think the project is about, and that's not okay. She's aligned herself with the Oakland Stadium Alliance and others in that area who want to crap on it. And then instead of, you know, and using their numbers and their stories and retweeting their stuff, and Hyphy Republic, that guy is a joke, absolute joke. He's, you know, they're always talking to the same 4 or 5 people in the media, who all they do is crap on this project. I don't feel like they have Oakland's best interests at hand sometimes. You know, they always talk to Noel Gallo. They always talk to Carol Fife. They always quote this Haick Republic guy. And I'm not even going to tell you his name because he doesn't even go by his own name, even in council meetings. He calls himself Jay, but his name is something else. Anyways, they listen to these same few guys. Yeah, he was trying to say that anybody who was pro Ballpark was a paid employee of the A's, but I have to wonder if some of these guys are paid by EOSA because they pay everybody else to badmouth the A's. I mean, these aren't free. These probably cost anywhere 50 cents to $1 to print. Actually, these are larger, so these are probably over $1 to print each. Then you got to mail them, and sure, you get a bulk mail price, but it's not that big of a discount. If you sent this to every household in Oakland, I mean, you're likely into the hundreds of thousands of dollars. Who's bankrolling that? And EOSA is, again, they're an AstroTurf group, and an AstroTurf group means that you have bigger entities. You have larger sponsors who are passing themselves off as a grassroots organization, in which they're not. Most of these guys are from out of the area. You know, the guys again who I've seen at the who are doing the pickets. Some of them are paid. Some aren't. Some are just union guys who were sent down by the hall to go picket. You'll get paid for the day, and you don't have to work on the dock today. Some of these guys are from like Hayward, San Leandro, and Richmond. Every time I look up the other guys, there was a guy from the harbor boat guys. He's from San Francisco. The guy who's the president of Local 10 lives in San Francisco. He says he's in Oakland, but he's from San Francisco. And even where he said he was in Oakland, he lives in Piedmont or Montclair. Here's a guy who's making over $100,000, and he's talking like he's a poor guy from West Oakland or East Oakland or wherever he's trying to say he's from. It's garbage, and we all know it. I would like to think that the politicians know it, but you get guys like Noel Gallo and Carol Fife, and I gotta go, well, maybe they don't know it. Maybe they don't see what's going on around them. They don't understand how things work, and then given that the things that they say, I would have to conclude that they don't have, they're not trying to be educated. Carol Fife has said, I have better things to do than to know about this stuff, to read about it, to get involved. I'm like, that's your fucking job. Do your job. Development is part of your job. I know, Oakland needs new, They want all these programs. Like, we can't feed the homeless. We can't house people. We can't do these programs without a tax base. And there's only one way to get a new tax base. It is gentrification. I'm not going to lie about it. But I feel like maybe we need a little bit, just to get things going. We can't just rely on the houses flipping in Montclair, and in the hills to be the driving force. I mean, that peters out after a while. You got to develop new property. You got to go and get that money somewhere. You've got to attract new business. You got to do these things, or you die on the vine. And that's what Oakland's been doing. Talking to Zenny, it's crabs in a bucket. Nobody wants to see another guy succeed, so they're pulling him down, stomping on their head to get up a little higher, and then the next crab pulls them down. And that's what we get in Oakland, and we get in Oakland politics and just Oakland people. And you know, it happens everywhere else too. You don't know what do you don't know what, Trev? Let's see. Maybe I missed something. What sounds like a scam? The ballpark sounds like a scam? I mean, if you let them scam you, it's a scam. But the real scam is what's going on with EOSA. And I got so off track here with comments and other stuff. You don't think what sounds legit? The ballpark? I mean, the groundwork is there. If now it's up to the city council to make sure that they have a legally binding backstop to that protects the general fund. If they get that, then the scam, there is no scam. Now you can ask look at Zenny's numbers. You can look at all the numbers from everybody that this pens out, you know, and not just for a couple $100 million, but close, you know, 800 million to over $1 billion. Over 30 years, you know, the real scam is leaving this damn thing a parking lot and only collecting $65,000 a year. That's what the property tax is on that. That's what that Howard Terminal is generating. If the A's get this project going, their base rate is around $7 million a year, plus whatever development and taxes that come on top of that. Then there's the tax increment part of that, where they take what growth comes above that to repay themselves. That's the thing that nobody's talking about. The A's are coming out of pocket to pay for things that the city of Oakland has neglected for decades. Potholes, you know, rail crossings, you know, just basic stuff, you know. Plus, everybody's like, well, we should just use this land for housing. Yeah, potholes piss me off too, because I've gotten 4 flat tires and 2 busted rims, and then City of Oakland decided that it wasn't their fault. So, you know, even though that they were within the city's knowledge and wherewithal to fix, and they knew it. That's besides the point. The City of Oakland has neglected Oakland as a whole. And the A's are offering to step up and fix this infrastructure issue. Stuff that that Oakland and the county and the state have all neglected. Where that money went, I don't know. It went probably to nicer neighborhoods, just to be completely honest. But I also have to ask, yeah, definitely bet on Oakland. It's time, because we haven't. We've been betting on everybody else. I have to ask how much money is being put into the general fund by the Port of Oakland. And I kind of ask that seriously, because I'm like, what do they generate versus the damage that they do to the area? I mean, they're polluting the ground, they're polluting the air, they're polluting the water. They're complaining about all that, and then they're tearing up the roads and everything else for their use, and then they're mad that we're going to create some traffic with some fans, you know. So like, well, what are you guys doing to fix that? But here's my the point I really wanted to get to, and I tweeted a few days ago, which was, what's with all this? What's going on? What is going on at Howard Terminal that they don't want people to know about? What's going on that it doesn't want a neighbor, it doesn't want anybody nearby? We already know that Schnitzer Steel has had numerous fires. You know, we know that there have been fuel spillages and other things. These are the ones we know about. Now, in the late 90s, I got my start in the working world working for Unocal Oil Refinery in Rodeo, California. I have family who worked for Chevron and Arco, and before at Tosco Avon. I don't know who runs it now. I think it's Mobile out in Martinez. There's things that people don't really think about. First, oil refineries have their own fire crews for two reasons. One, these are specialized fire crews who are there for oil and chemical fires. They're the first line of defense, and they're the ones who get there first. They're already on site. But because they have internal fire departments, only when flare, basically only when somebody else knows without a doubt that some shit's going down, does that stuff get out. They try and keep it internal. We had all, I know Unocal at the time was busted left and right, selenium and mercury, and as well as other stuff. Well, you work for the oil. You lie. I work for the oil company. You're a scammer. Well, Trev, you're full of shit. I'm telling you firsthand that they, and this is not my opinion, this is fact. This is all backed by lawsuits and other such stuff. You know, Bay Area Air Quality has a monitor sitting up on Tormey Hill at the Rodeo Refinery. It's there and it's monitored by them for air quality. They monitor the flares at every refinery because they're looking to see who's burning off excess. You never have a fire? I'm always seeing shit on fucking fire. You're full of shit. You never have a fire? You never have a fire? Which refinery do you work at? I'm calling, oh, fucking Trav, you're fucking full of shit. Oh, whatever. Anyways, I guess you're just being a joke. Okay, I get it now. Anyways, yeah, constant fires, stuff like this. So I'm like, well, what else is going on over there that they're not telling us, what they don't want us to know? You know, there was some shady shit that went down, you know, in Rodeo. I mean, like, a dude was killed. And nobody cares, Trey or whatever the damn name is. I'll talk to you however I want to talk to you. You know, you come in acting silly like this, you know. Yeah, have fun with that. Anyways, yeah, the dude was killed, and they did an investigation, and then after the refinery was suddenly cleared the investigation, the lead investigator was hired as head of security for the oil refinery. So I have no idea. I don't know what I'm talking about, Trev. I have no idea. No idea at all. You whatever. Yeah. I went to Texas A&M for. You're known for scamming in your neighborhood. You don't even know who the fuck I am. And that's what it comes down to. The way that these guys act, yeah, it's probably one of those little dirt bags, but the way that they act was the way that the refineries reacted when they had bad press. You know, it's crazy. Yeah, there's always weirdos on here who just want to be. You're 14th in the queue now. Okay, yeah. There's little weirdos like this who always come on here and just start spouting nonsense. Okay, you can call YouTube and okay. Most people will just give it a thumbs down or they report it, but I can back every single one of these claims. So go for it. Like I said, Surrey Pool, look him up. Yeah, he cleared Unocal of wrongdoing in a worker's death and was shortly thereafter hired as their head of security. Coincidence? whatever, Treg and Trey. I'm sure you're the same guy. I don't have to. I am a man, and I don't need your opinion about that. You're a little man. Oh, 12. Okay, Trev and Treg. I'm sure you're the same guy. Whatever. I don't really care. Boo-hoo. Anyways, enough of the trolls. Where are we at here? Yeah, so they act like something's up. I know Schnitzer still doesn't like the A's because the A's sued the state to have them actually do their job. And you've watched me for ages. I've only been doing this for a minute. How do you say this to me? Yeah, silliness. This is how do you say these things to me if you've been watching for so long? But yeah, they behave poorly, and they sued to have the state enforce its own laws. Schnitzer's facing fines. It's going to cost them money to clean up. As far as using Howard Terminal for housing, that's counter to the argument that they don't believe that people should live at the port. So, which one is it? I'm a Turkish, but okay, whatever, dude. A turkey is right. Yeah, they don't. If they don't want people, if they don't think people should live next to the port, then the ring, please. If they don't think people should live next to the port, then why do they think people should live next to the port? It's counterintuitive, if you ask me. Anyways, and then this has kind of gone off the rails, and I'm gonna wrap this up here. It's holy shit! It's only been almost an hour. Pardon my French, but sun is going down here, and I got things to do. But yeah, watch out for this stuff. It's all a lie. Hopefully everything goes right next week, and the BCDC vote goes through. That puts the ball in the A's court to get a community benefits agreement going here. Hey Patrick, what's up, buddy? No idea. I think this dude's just being a clown to be a clown for clown's sake. Whatever. I'm not gonna sit here and bother with it. I think he's just trying to be funny. Somebody scammed him. Well, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. But anyways, yeah, watch out for this the BCDC thing. If it does pass, the ball does go into the A's court. Now it's on them to go to the city and work out a community benefits agreement that is beneficial for everybody. And it's hopefully they soften up their stance. Hopefully they know that everything's full bore here in Oakland, because that's the way I see it. Please do not run for something. Oh, Patrick. Oh, he's a YouTube moderator. He's a scam account. Whatever. Whatever. This silliness. There's more silliness that's going on. So let's a parking lot here at the commissary. Let's see. Ooh, trouble. Put this user. Let's put him in timeout. It's funny that people think they can just come in and so I can put a YouTube moderator into timeout, so he must not be a real moderator. So, and we'll put this guy, there we go. Anyways, I'm just doing stupid work around here. Anyways, yeah, watch out for EOSA. They're a total scam. Much like Treg and Trev and the YouTube moderator that supposedly are here. yeah, I've had enough of them. I should have did it earlier. Anyways, they're getting me off track. And hey, I appreciate your Excel. I appreciate your contribution. I like this better when it is a conversation and not just me talking to myself. Hey man, the A's aren't doing their own work to counter the anti-Howard Terminal stuff. It would take a lot of money. They're not trying to put that money anywhere else. They're definitely not doing it on the field. Since I've been on here, I've gotten multiple notifications that the A's are getting their butt kicked. The only win I'm looking for right now is the A's staying in Oakland, and then we can hopefully turn this around. Once that happens, I don't know. Do I believe that Fisher can get this done and turn it around? Hard to say. I mean, his track record honestly isn't that great. His soccer teams aren't doing it. He's got San Jose the Earthquakes, and he's got yeah, whatever. There's just people who just troll to troll for trolling's sake, and I'm not tripping. But yeah. Anyways, guys, it's late. Go eat your dinner. Go watch the last episode of Obi-Wan because it was pretty tight. And then it's the finale. I enjoyed it a lot. And yeah, go A's, go Oakland, and all that good stuff. All right, guys, have a good night.